Aronson, I think Brendan, we know very well, but we decide to bring another player in his place. I think we have player in that position, like Gio Reyna, that is for the first time that they're going to join us, and then Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Diego Luna. I think too many players for only one position. The possibility was, to provide the balance. When you have the possibility only 23 players to call in a competition that is only 2 games in a very short space of time, I think we need a balance, a good balance, and it's compulsory to have 3 keepers and of course after 20 players in different positions. Yes, I think it's difficult. We can talk about him, but we can talk about many another players that were in the pre-list that we are, disappointed because we cannot call all. But I think it's going to be always in our mind. Brendan is a player that our consideration is so high, but in that moment, to wait for the next one.
Mauricio mentioned Gio Reyna, his first time in the camp since Mauricio took over. Also in that category, Tyler Adams and Cameron Carter-Vickers. We'll continue with Henry Bushnell from Yahoo.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, Mauricio. I appreciate your time.
Welcome.
You mentioned Diego Luna there. What did you see in Diego back in January, and what makes you think that he is ready to contribute at this level, in a big competition like this?
Well, I think he's a player that we follow from the day that we signed in the USA national team. And of course, yes, we can, we want to give another possibility, not only in the January camp, if not to have continuity. It's a player that can provide different things during the game. Yes, and I think it's important for him to feel the confidence from us. And I think he was good in the January camp, and that is why we wanted to provide the possibility to join us again.
Next will be Ryan Talmadge from Goal.com.
Thank you, Michael, and hi, Mauricio.
Hello.
Michael mentioned Tyler Adams, and I wanted to ask about him as he's one of the guys that you haven't gotten a chance to work with yet. Obviously, he's in very good form. I think he won Bournemouth Player of the Month last month, and he's getting back to being his best self as a coach. When you see him as that type of number 6, how do you want to use him, and how do you see him impacting the team now that you have him back?
No, of course, we know very well. As a player that we wanted to sign in Chelsea. Of course, that is an important player. He's a very good player. But of course, he needs to provide or to prove that he's better than the another. It's a good competition in the midfielder. We are going to have Tanner Tessman and Sean Cardoso, Yunus Musa, Weston McKennie that can play in that position. We have very good competition, and of course, it's good opportunity for us to feel him, to see him, and it's great to have him again. The last months he was performing really, really well with his team, Bournemouth, and I think deserved the opportunity. And for us, it's a great opportunity to know him.
We'll go to Jeff Carlisle from ESPN FC.
Thank you, Michael. Hello, Mauricio.
Hello, how are you?
At the risk of good, thank you. At the risk of being repetitive, regarding Josh Sargent, obviously he's banging in the goals, but what has impressed you the most about his play, even beyond his finishing of late?
No, always we need to pay attention that we are talking about a player that is doing really well in championship. Of course, it's like you asked me about before about Brendan Aronson. Is playing also in championship. They are not in Premier League. They are not in Calcio or in the Bundesliga in first division. But we need to, our players that they are performing well and of course deserve the opportunity. We have Balogun. We have different player Pepe that they are not available. And I think to have him and to have Brian White and of course Patrick Ashimen, I think it's good competition also, and can provide the national team a good 3 striker competing to play in a very important, tournament like that we are going to compete next week.
Next is Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Mauricio, for doing this. You both,
welcome.
Gio Reyna. He hasn't played very much for Dortmund this year, some of that because of injury, but some not, less than 600 minutes, I think, in all competitions. Why did you decide to call him in, and how much can he give you this month?
We decided to call him because it's the only opportunity that we have now in March, because until June we are not going to have. And then in June he's going to be competing in the World Club tournament, and is not going to be available for us with Borussia Dortmund, like Juventus also. I think players that are going to be involved, and we are going to have the possibility to call. That is why I think when we decide to call players, it was a great opportunity to see him, to feel him. It's true that maybe he's not playing too much, but I think for us he's a great player, and we want to consider him. But the most important thing is that we need to feel, and that is going to be the opportunity to have him 10 days feeling and connecting and to creating, a good relationship that they can help him and can help us for the future.
And just to clarify what Mauricio talked about, the Club World Cup this summer, the FIFA Club World Cup, simultaneous to the CONCACAF Gold Cup, under FIFA rules, clubs have first access to players during those windows. So he mentioned Champions League clubs, Club World Cup clubs like Dortmund and Juventus, who have the first right to their players during that window. We'll continue with Ron Blum from the Associated Press.
Hi, Mauricio.
Hello.
As you look at what you want in the overall arc of the team heading up to the World Cup, I think there are only 5 more windows you have for the full team together. What kind of progress do you look for in this camp from individual players and the group?
I think it's the possibility, the capacity of the player to adapt quick, because now we are going to have 2-3 training sessions before to play against Panama, and we need players that can adapt in the ideas that we have. It's true that it's important for us to have players that already know and already work with us. That is why it's 75 or 80% of the players that are in this squad, nearly only 6 players, only few players, 3, I think, didn't work with us. I think we are talking about Gio, Taylor, Adams, and Cameron, I think. Yes, it's only the 3 players that still didn't work with us. And that is why, because the players are going to arrive Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday we need to play, and then hope to play the final Sunday. It's not too much, too many time to work and to develop the ideas with players that don't know us. That is why we were very cautious in the moment that we select our player. No?
Next will be Frank Delapa from the Boston Globe.
Great. Hi, Mauricio.
Hello.
Patrick Ashimen has been overlooked until recently. What have you seen in him? What does he need to improve on? And also, Patrick's been getting attention from overseas. Does he need, in your opinion, to make that move to give his game a boost, say maybe a league championship club? Thanks.
I think it's his characteristics. I think it's a offensive player and striker that can provide the team different things. I think it's good because we are going to have 3 different strikers with 3 different characteristics. Talking about Patrick, I think it's still it's a little bit raw. It's a little bit that a player that you can feel that he can evolve and learn a lot. But I think the potential and the characteristics is if he continues his progression, we can talk about for the future in a very good striker. And now it's up to him. I was so happy, or we are so happy about the January camp. I think he showed that we can trust on him. He scored, but not only he scored, if not work ethic on the camp, the campus. I think the way that he can press, he can work for the team. I think, of course, all the things that I think make that we were focused on him, and I think to give the trust and calling him now is to show that we really believe in him.
Next is Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Mauricio, as always, for the time. Going back to Brendan Aronson, for a player like him, who, as you said, you do know and you have seen a lot of, what do you want to see from him and other players like maybe Alejandro Zendejas, who did not make this team? From now to June, when you're next together, what do you want to see from them? Improvement, getting better in the next few months with their clubs.
Yes, sometimes it's not about improve or not improve. Sometimes it's about numbers. You know, when you can call 23. If you see the preliminary list, I think we were 60 players, and it's really painful because sometimes it's not only the performance, it's not the balance, and then how you connect the characters of the player, on the squad. And sometimes because we want to, in our idea for this campus, maybe go again to some players that we already know. But yes, we are going to continue to assess all the players, and of course, the difficult thing always when you have too many players is to be right and to be clinical in the moment that you select, the player to play, because that is about our feelings. It's about your intuition, how you are going to project the team to play in different competition. And I think when we select these 23 players, because we really believe that we can find the very good balance and to compete in our best and to get the result that we want to win.
Congrats, Charlie. I'm pretty sure that was your first question in Spanish since we've been working together. We'll continue with Brian Sciaretta from American Soccer Now.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mauricio. Question for you on Mark McKenzie and the growth that you've seen from him this season. He's made the move to Toulouse last summer, and his defense, I think, is second or third in Ligue 1 in terms of goals conceded. Seems to be taking big jumps. You've had him in before. What have you seen from him, and what have you seen from your own scouting of him at his club that he's coming into form this year at this camp?
I think okay, we analyze all the performance, but I think it's really important is the feeling that we got when we were together, no? When I think that is important too, because for me, Mark is still young. When we were talking about Patrick, is also like Patrick, no? That is in a very is about Mark, talking about Mark, showing a league that is really difficult to play. I was in France, and it's not easy. And of course, he's a player that we really trust, and we have the confidence. That's why he's in the list. But it's going to be a position very competitive because it's Chris Richard, is Cameron, his team is too many trusty. It's too many. I think players that they are doing really well. That also we can trust, and that is going to be difficult because only we are going to for the future to call 3 or 4 depend of the composition of the squad and the balance. But I think it's going to be very competitive. He need to really believe in his condition. We like the profile. That is why we keep call him. No?
Next will be Alex Abnos from The Guardian.
Hi, Mauricio. Thanks for the time, and thank you, Michael, as well. I just want to talk about or ask about the defense and center back specifically. You have a number of different options there, 5 players that can play center back, and Cameron Carter-Vickers in camp with you for the first time. You went with McKenzie and Ream as a pairing in the previous Nations League games. Do you anticipate sticking with that, or what are you looking for from that particular position?
You know very well that I am a coach that we analyze everything, and we are aware about all the performance. But the problem is that also I am a coach that I need to touch, the player. I need to feel the player, and also we are going to wait until we arrive to the camps and to decide. Of course, the Mark and team they were playing and are a little bit in advantage to the another, but it's going to be first training station, second training station, and then decide, the players that are going to be in the starting 11, because you can have a plan, because we have a plan, but after it's going to be really important how we fail the player, because also we need to consider the jet lag, players that are going to fly Monday, are going to arrive Monday. It's going to be difficult, to be really accurate in the way that in our decision, because we are going to we need to consider everything. But for sure, we have a group of people working, all the staff, medical staff, performance area, sports science, coaching staff, all that they are working to try to be very, very, very focused to recover the player and to assess the player, and then to have the best decision to perform in our best way.
Next is Donald Wine.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, Mauricio, thank you for the time today.
Hello.
I wanted to ask you about Yunus Musa being listed as a forward on this roster. Of course, we normally see him in the midfield, but I know he's played at the 10 quite a bit for Milan this season. Is that how you plan to utilize him in this camp? Do you kind of...
Yeah, but don't one appreciation. I think it's not important in the way that we present, the roster, because also for me it's a midfielder. It's not an offensive player, but sometimes can play number 10, can play number 7, can play wing back, can play fullback, can play holding midfielder. Musa is a player that can play in different positions. But that was a little bit technique, maybe, but don't follow in the way that the presentation was, because I think maybe it was a mistake. But we consider him like a midfielder also. Not only you, me too.
Next is Adam Bells.
Can you hear me?
No,
okay. Yes. So Gio Reyna, very talented player, maybe the most talented player on the roster, came in and made the difference last Nations League, was the best player in the tournament. But he's not making much impact for his club. And I don't know if you watch the Dortmund games, it's almost like he's running half speed. And I wonder what, you don't have to agree or disagree with that, but I wonder what's your message to him when he comes in? What are you looking for from him? How do you see him as a player also?
Well, I think it's important for me. Like you say, I agree with you. I think his talent is there, and it's good to feel and how to help. I think one of the things to call him is because it was a great opportunity. If not, it's going to be difficult to see him. And then because I think everyone recognizes that his talent, and of course he's improving, but he needs to improve. And of course he can do better. We need to push him, but at the same time we need to understand how he think, what he like, how he don't like. I think it's important to create this relationship for the future if he are going to have the possibility again to join us. I think we want to win this competition, and I think he can help that is why he's with us. But in the same time, I think he can do better. We are going to try to create this relationship, to try to discover and how to help.
Our last question today comes from Andrew Jones.
Thanks, Michael, as always. And hello to you, Mauricio. As always, good to see you on here. With how deep this roster was and how tough it was to pick, your thoughts of just if you had any conversations with Richie Ledesma at PSV with how the season that he's having with Ricardo before he got injured, and also Malik, and also with Serginho back. Do you view him more as a midfielder in your formation, or if he was on any future roster? Just your thoughts on that.
Sorry, I didn't understand because I didn't listen to the first part of the question. You are talking about Ledesma?
Yes, yes.
In which position I am seeing him?
Yes.
Well, I think we will consider Ledesma, but at the moment I think we have Joe Scally or Fosse, that Marlon that was with us, and Serginho Dest. I think we have plenty of players that can play there, but also is in our consideration to maybe one day to call him. But I think like we can put on the table too many names that we can consider it, but only after we have 23 places to call. And always we are going to be talking about the players that are not in the squad. We need to have to take the decision, and I am so disappointed because we cannot call 50 or 60 players, and for sure too many deserve to be, but we don't have places, we don't have a number for them to be with us. That is why the commitment and the focus and the respect for the team, for the squad, for the country. Every time that they are going to be with the national team, they need to be 200% very commitment with this project, because if not, too many players outside waiting for the same place. That is what we want to create, and of course having more option. Players need to know that we are focusing on.